Every entrepreneur dreams of building a brand that lasts. But here's the hard truth. Most brands die young. They don't fail because the product was bad or the team was inexperienced. They fail because they never understood what branding really is. Textbooks teach us the 5 P's of marketing: product, price, place, pace, and promotion. Important, yes. But marketing is transactional. Branding is transformational. Branding is not about what you sell. It's about what people believe about you. Paul Robinson, author of Make Your Brand Roar and One-Page Branding Plan, has spent decades studying iconic companies. His research across more than 100 established brands led him to redefine the framework. He calls it the 5 P's of branding. These are personality, perception, positioning, propaganda, and persuasion.
I noticed something fascinating. While many brands could get the mechanics of marketing right, only a few became cultural phenomena. What separated Apple, Nike, or Amul from the rest wasn't their product alone. It was the way they built identities, changed perceptions, and persuaded people at scale. The 5 Ps aren't just techniques. They are the DNA of enduring brands.
Module 1. Personality. Think of a brand as a person. It dresses in colors. It speaks in a tone. It makes choices about how to behave. These choices, logos, taglines, customer service scripts, build a consistent brand personality. Stanford professor Jennifer Aker defined 5 archetypes of brand personality: sincerity, excitement, competence, sophistication, and ruggedness. These are not abstract categories. They are the emotional shorthand customers use to decide, is this brand for me? Consider Harley-Davidson. It doesn't just sell motorcycles. It sells the rugged, rebellious identity of freedom on the open road. Contrast that with Apple, which embodies excitement and sophistication, or IKEA, which leans on sincerity and affordability. Here is an analogy to understand better. Imagine you're at a networking dinner. 2 people introduce themselves, one rattles off a resume, the other tells a witty story, and makes you laugh. Whom do you remember the next day? Brands work the same way.
When I ask entrepreneurs what their brand personality is, they often say, we're professional, we're innovative, we care. But here's the challenge. So does everyone else. Your personality must be specific, distinct, and above all, emotional. Maya Angelou once said, "People never forget how you made them feel." Branding is precisely that. When people think of your brand, what feeling do they walk away with? Here are some important questions to consider while defining your brand's emotional identity. If my brand were a person, how would it speak, dress, and behave? What 3 adjectives best describe my brand's character? Example: bold, trustworthy, playful, etc. Does my visual identity, like logo, color palette, typography, match the personality I want to convey? How does my brand make people feel when they encounter it? Which archetype, example, the friend, the hero, the rebel, the guide, etc., do I want my brand to embody? Am I consistent in expressing this personality across packaging, customer service, website, and social media?
Module 2. Perception. Branding is not reality, it is perception. Edward Bernays, the father of modern PR, understood that what people believe matters more than what is factually true. Take the brand Marlboro, for example. In the 1950s, Philip Morris faced 2 challenges. The product killed people, and it stank. Instead of marketing tobacco, they built the perception of the Marlboro Man, a cowboy who embodied rugged masculinity. In 8 months, sales surged by 5,000%. By the 1980s, Marlboro was America's #1 cigarette. They weren't selling cigarettes. They were selling confidence, aspiration, and identity. The lesson? People don't buy products. They buy the stories they tell themselves when they use those products. Think of perception as the glasses your customer wears. If the lenses are tinted blue, everything you show them looks blue. Your role as a brand builder is to shape the tint of those lenses.
Every brand makes a promise. Deliver on it and you build trust. Break it and the perception crumbles overnight. Think of Uber. Convenience once defined its brand. But scandals around culture and safety reshaped perception. That's how fragile perception is. Remember, your customer isn't just buying what you make, they're buying what they believe about you. Here are the important questions to consider while managing how customers actually see you. What do customers currently say or believe about my brand? How do I know whether their perception aligns with my intended brand identity? What single word or phrase do I want people to associate with my brand? Which touchpoints like ads, social posts, product packaging, customer service, etc. are shaping my audience's perception the most? Am I overpromising in my communication or under-delivering in my execution? How can I use testimonials, reviews, endorsements, or PR to reinforce the perception I want to create?
Module 3, Positioning. If perception is what the customer sees, positioning is where you decide to stand in their mind. Al Ries and Jack Trout, in their classic Positioning, The Battle for Your Mind, argued, positioning is not what you do to a product, it's what you do to the mind of the prospect. Take Tesla as an example. When Tesla entered the automotive market, they didn't compete as another car company. He created a new category, high-performance electric vehicles. By positioning itself as the future of mobility, Tesla made competitors look outdated. Or Dollar Shave Club, for instance. Instead of fighting Gillette on blade quality, they positioned themselves as the irreverent, affordable subscription brand, reframing shaving from a chore into a lifestyle choice. Imagine you're in a crowded marketplace. Positioning is like choosing a stage where only your voice carries.
To own a position, you don't need to be better at everything. You just need to be different at something. Netflix didn't compete on store count like Blockbuster. They positioned themselves as movies anytime, anywhere. That single move didn't just grow market share, it rewrote the rules of the industry. To own a unique space in the customer's mind, ask these questions. What category am I truly competing in? And what new category could I create? Who is my direct competition, and how do customers currently compare us? What differentiates me that cannot be easily copied by competitors? What single idea do I want my brand to own in the marketplace? Example, reliability, innovation, affordability. If my brand disappeared tomorrow, what gap would it leave in the market? Am I positioning based on product features or on a deeper customer aspiration?
Module 4, Propaganda. Propaganda in branding is not manipulation, it's amplification. It's the megaphone you use to make your story heard. In the past, this meant TV, radio, or billboards. Today, it's TikTok, YouTube, podcasts, and even AI-generated summaries. As Chris Anderson wrote in The Long Tail, your brand is what Google says it is. Today, it's also what ChatGPT or Gemini say it is. Take Dove's Real Beauty campaign. Instead of talking about soap, Dove sparked a global conversation about body image and self-esteem. Millions shared the campaign, not because it was advertising, but because it was propaganda for an idea people cared about. Think of propaganda as ripples in a pond. A single stone, an ad, a story, a video, can create waves that travel far beyond what you paid for.
Branding is no longer about shouting louder, it's about spreading smarter. Today's word of mouth happens on Twitter, Reddit, or Instagram Reels, sometimes before a single sale is made. The question for brand builders is simple. Where are your customers having conversations, and how can you join them authentically? Here are some questions to consider to amplify your message through the right channels of communication. Where does my target audience spend the most time, online and offline? Which channels are most effective for amplifying my message? PR, influencer marketing, podcasts, reels, webinars. Am I joining existing cultural conversations or trying to start my own? How do people discover and talk about my brand without me present? Example, Google, social, AI summaries. Is my message being amplified authentically, or does it feel forced? What campaign or story of mine could spark organic sharing and word of mouth?
Module 5, Persuasion. Awareness is not enough. The true test of a brand is its ability to persuade, to eliminate objections and inspire action. Robert Cialdini, in Influence, identified 6 persuasion triggers: reciprocity, commitment, social proof, authority, liking, and scarcity. The world's most persuasive brands weave these into their DNA. Take Apple as an example. They don't sell features. They persuade by creating anticipation. Launch events aren't commercials. They're cultural events. Customers don't just buy iPhones. They buy membership in a tribe of innovation. Or think of Amazon Prime Day. Scarcity and urgency drive immediate behavior. The deals may not be extraordinary, but the fear of missing out persuades millions to click buy now.
A persuasive brand doesn't push, it pulls. It creates gravitational force. The best brands underpromise and overdeliver, so every interaction feels like a gift. When you wow a customer, persuasion turns into loyalty, and loyalty is the most powerful persuasion tool of all. The real persuasive strategies for a brand is to turn awareness into action and loyalty, and here are some questions that you can consider. What objections do customers typically have before buying, and how can my brand communication address them? Which persuasion triggers like social proof, scarcity, authority, reciprocity, etc. am I using effectively? How does my brand remove friction from the buying process? Do I underpromise and overdeliver, creating moments of delight? What makes customers not just purchase once, but come back, refer, and advocate for my brand? How can I transform buyers into a community of loyal fans?
Conclusion. The 5 P's of branding, personality, perception, positioning, propaganda, and persuasion are not tactical tricks. They are long-term principles. Brands that master them don't just sell more. They shape culture, inspire loyalty, and leave legacies.
Logos fade, campaigns expire, but meaning endures. Branding is the art of creating meaning in a noisy world. If you understand and apply the 5 Ps, you won't just build a business. You'll build a story people want to belong to. And that, my friends, is the real power of branding. Branding is not decoration, it's psychology in action. The 5 Ps of branding, personality, perception, positioning, propaganda, and persuasion, are not nice to haves. They are the very backbone of how people think and feel about your business. Ask yourself today, which of these 5 Ps are spiking in your brand and which ones are falling flat? Maybe your brand has a bold personality, but the perception in the market is weak. Maybe your positioning is strong, but your propaganda, the way you amplify your story, is barely audible. Great brands are not built by chance. They are engineered with intent. Evaluate, readjust, realign, then roar. When you master these frameworks, you don't just design logos and campaigns. You create identities that live in people's minds, stories they carry in their hearts, and movements they can't resist joining. That's how you build not just a brand, but a brand that roars.